Hello everyone and welcome back here to another video. It is Christian of the Calcio Bros and I want to talk about what just happened this weekend, of course. And as we know, it is the second half of the Serie A season, the Giro di Boa, and or the Ritorno too, whichever way you want to call it. It's now time to for every team to replay their every team once again solidify their spots, try to achieve seasonal objectives, or try to change their season and try to improve on what's going on, or hopefully continue on their fine run of form. I know a lot of teams now, especially in the second half of the season, really want to change how they've approached the Serie A season so far. And in one way too, this is where I see the real Serie A season starting, as you know, more points now are more important than ever. Results are important, especially for head to head too, depending on where certain teams are, if they're on the bottom or closer to the top for European spots as well. And like I said, once these games are important, because once these games are done, you do not replay those opponents again. You would try to get max points from these opponents and try to again solidify where they are right now, because this is where teams try to finish what they started in the last time out, or even just again try to improve, try to forget what happened, and just try to be better than what they've been doing. Certain teams, of course, have been doing much. Some teams doing much better than expected, and other teams have just had an abysmal year and are looking for this turnaround to improve their season right now. And again, this is where I feel the real season starts. So now let's get on to the results that happened this weekend. So now we had one game on Friday, which was Torino-Fiorentina at 2:45, which finished in a 1-1 draw. Davide Nicola still looking for his first win in charge of Torino, while Fiorentina were also reduced to 10 men thanks to 2 red cards from Milinkovic and Castrovilli. We move on to Saturday with 3 matches. We have opening up the day at 9 a.m. was Bologna-Milan, where Milan took the victory thanks to, well, we'll say 2 penalties, but one of them was missed in a rebound. Bologna scored in late on, but couldn't manage to get the draw. 12 p.m. we have Sampdoria, Juve, which the Bianconeri took the victory at the Marassi 2-0. 2:45 we had Inter Benevento, where the hosts thrashed the visitors here. An important result for Conte's side, especially with the other 2 results not going their way. Moving on to Sunday the 31st, we had Spezia Udinese open up Sunday at 6:30 a.m. Udinese winning the game thanks to a DePaul penalty, where both teams also received red cards. DePaul and Saponara received their marching orders. 9 a.m. with 3 games, we had Crotone, Genoa, and the Grifone continuing their fine run of form under Ballardini, securing the victory here 3-0, with Destro also scoring his 7th and 8th goal of the season. He's on a fine scoring run as well, and that is his 8th goal in 8 matches here. So he's really found his scoring touch. And Genoa also winning the head-to-head here in a crucial relegation battle. They kind of already had won it, we'll say, especially that they won 4-1 the first time around. But then again, we've seen teams recover from a 4-1 deficit. The other 9 a.m. games were Cagliari Sassuolo, where Cagliari were looking like they could just sneak away with the victory, but Sassuolo tying it in the 94th minute with Jeremy Boga and sealing away a huge point there. Cagliari still looking for that crucial victory, especially trying to move out of that relegation zone. And then the last 9 a.m. game was Atalanta-Lazio, bit of a rematch here from midweek Coppa Italia. It finished 3-1 for the visitors. Simone Inzaghi getting the last laugh here, and Lazio also securing their 5th straight victory in Serie A. 12 p.m. we had Napoli Parma where the Azzurri secured 3 points and condemned Parma to another defeat. Their woes continue, and that's their 4th loss in 5 games now. And ending off the Sunday fixture list is Roma and Hellas Verona, where the match finished 3-1 for the Giallorossi. Roma actually went rampant in the first half, scoring 3 goals in I think it was about 30 minutes, with 2 goals coming in the span of a minute each. Verona had a much better second half, but just couldn't put away with anything. So those were all the results opening up round 20, and as we know, some of these were a bit of shocking results. Some teams continuing business as usual. So let's talk about the opening game that was on Saturday, which was Bologna-Milan. And with this one, I just want to talk about again, Milan received another 2 penalties today. 2 penalties that we can see were penalties, of course. Leao being, we'll say, pulled back, while Somaro, so like if I can say Somaro decided to play volleyball instead of soccer and touch it with both his hands. But anyways, Milan got the victory here. Job done for them. But both keepers played exceptionally well, coming up with crucial saves. Both Donnarumma and Skorupski making big saves when they needed to, and they really couldn't do anything on both the goals. Skorupski actually saving Milan's first penalty from Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but couldn't keep out the rebound from Ante Rebic. But then almost dove back and got Kessie's spot kick, but he still made saves. Other than that, Bologna, tough result for them. 3rd loss now in 5 games for them. Mihajlovic will definitely look to turn things around. The Bologna have been very poor as well. It doesn't seem like Mihajlovic is getting the best out of the team this year. There is plenty of talent, so they are looking to perhaps get some deadline deals if they can to help strengthen the squad and hopefully get more points going forward. With Milan, it help to push themselves up the table and help continue the distance from their cross-city rivals. Sampdoria Juve was another important victory here for the Bianconeri, and like I said even before, it seems like Juve are starting to get their playing style together. They're really starting to but play together more as a team rather than individuals here. I do feel it was another, I wouldn't say too quiet of a game from Ronaldo, but he did help to set up Juve's first goal, setting Morata up as he passed it to Federico Chiesa. But other than that, he didn't really excel that much. Yoshida actually defended him well, put in a nice last-ditch tackle, which he really had to time. Otherwise, it could have been disastrous for him. He could have seen red and given away a penalty, but he did play well, keep Ronaldo quiet, but they just couldn't hold on. They did have a much better second half. Ranieri's Sampdoria have looked good as of late. This is only their 2nd loss in their last 5. They're 3-0-2, which isn't too bad, but they will look to improve going forward as well, like continue their momentum, because especially right now, sitting in the top 10, that was their objective the whole season. But with Juve, with this win, it does help them improve. That's their 4th win in their last 5, and that has helped push them so close to the top end of the table. And now before the Inter game, they were only 2 points behind Inter, and again, if they still have that one game against Napoli, if they could win that, they can really put pressure on Inter and Milan. They can pass ahead of Roma as well. So crucial points up for grabs for Juve. They do have a big game coming up next weekend, which we are going to get into as well. And then going on to Inter, Inter looking, again, knowing that they had to get a win against Benevento, since they know Milan won and Juventus had won. They needed to get the 3 points here. And last time around, they did beat Benevento pretty big, 5-2 at the Ciro Vigorito. So that would have been, they would have hoped to continue that run, and they just did that. They did what they needed to do and went in 4-0, which was a huge result for them. And first half too, they got the early own goal from an Eriksson free kick, who's actually starting now. Very important for him to gain some momentum, or perhaps start a little more after his heroics in the Coppa Italia derby against Milan. And he set something else up against the free kick, and Benevento were looking good at some points, but after the Montipo, or not the Montipo, that didn't even happen yet. But once Martinez got his goal of the game after ending his goal drought, that's where Inter kind of turned on the style, and Benevento shut off Montipo, giving away a bad pass at the back to Martinez or Sanchez, I can't remember now, but setting up Lukaku to score his first of the game, and then later he got his second. So he continues his run as well, catching up for the Serie A top scorer standing, sitting at 14, only one behind Ronaldo, who of course did not score. So it's going to be a very tight Capocannoniere race as well, and this is good for Inter as they continue their momentum and continue their press on Milan while trying to distance themselves again from Roma, from Juve. But they have to hope that some of the results go their way, and considering the derby is coming up in a couple weeks, these points are important, as if you compare the two fixture lists between Inter and Milan, like I said before, Milan seemed to have the easier set of matches before the derby, so they would hope to get maximum points as well and put even more pressure going into the derby against Milan. Moving on to some of the games on Sunday, and like I said here, Crotone-Genoa, that was a huge result for the Grifone, who have looked exceptional under Davide Ballardini. This is their third win in their last 5, their fourth straight positive result. So they have really improved, sitting now out of the relegation zone, a decent distance away. I know it's still early, anything can change, but they have been pushing themselves away, picking up points when they needed to. With Mattia Destro now finding his form, they have really looked to him to get back in the goals as well. So they will hope to continue this run going forward, picking up points, especially a lot of the points against the teams under them. Winning the head-to-heads are going to be important as well, like they did against Crotone, and they will hope to continue getting teams underneath points underneath them, as it will help push themselves up the table and get away from the teams that they are beating, dropping points from them. Atalanta Lazio too, a rematch from the Coppa Italia midweek game, as Atalanta had stolen that one away. Moving on to the semifinals there, Lazio were keen to get a victory here as they want to continue their push up the standings. And they did just that, and they got it right away in less than 2 minutes. Marusic scoring an absolute stunner of a goal from distance. I would say a good 30 or 32 yards out. I know that's very specific, but it's in that range there. Golini did seem a little slow to move, but still, you want to take that away from Marusic, who put in a fine strike, and Luis Alberto and Joaquin Correa and Muriqi adding on to the goals for Lazio, while Pasalic gets his goal after returning to the side after a lengthy injury as well. But Lazio getting an important victory here at the Gilwa Stadium. Atalanta, tough result for them, as they're sort of knocked down a little bit. But one thing to also know here, that Atalanta did beat Lazio 4-1. So if they do finish tied points, and it comes down to the tied points, of course, depending on who qualifies for which position, whether it be for a Europa League or a Champions League spot, Atalanta do have the victories there. So if well, even if they did win 3-0, I think Atalanta would still have it because of the 4 away goals. But still important result, like I said, for Lazio, who do now have 5 consecutive victories, and Inzaghi has started to turn his side around. He's getting good results going forward, and now they can really start pushing for a Champions League spot, as they are still not that far behind Juventus as it stands, because again of that one game in hand. They're tied points with Napoli, so it's still going to be very close. All these games are going to be very close to the end, unless you start to see someone start pulling away from the rest of the teams in the league. Napoli, Parma, again, crucial point for Gattuso's side, who has received a bit of criticism as of late. But then again, even Gattuso said he's receiving all these criticism, but it's not like he's second last in the league. And I can understand. Yes, he's on the top half of the table. They are in a decent position right now, but it's also because of the slow start that they had. They are 12-1-6, so more losses than draws, losing again to teams like Spezia, and then losing that game against Verona not too long ago as well. But they have picked up points when they needed to, and I do see them starting to find their cohesion. Yes, I guess yes, you can see them a bit disjointed or whatever at times, but they pick up points when they need to. They have beaten teams like Roma. And who else did they have? Oh my god, I feel like they had other big wins as well. Or I'm just thinking of Roma losses. Yes, they did beat Atalanta as well. I do remember that. I know did lose against Inter Milan. Again, the Juventus game they still have to play. I know I keep talking about that, but that is an important game that has to be played, because that can really change the standings and how these two teams go forward. But it's more of Napoli dropping points against the teams under them. You can kind of drop the points with the teams above you, but it kind of depends on how many points you do drop. If you drop all 6, or if you can drop maybe 1 or 2, it does, or more 2, I guess you could say. But it does depend on the results, and especially the head-to-head now is going to come into importance, like I said, because if teams come level in points, the head-to-head is going to determine which team finishes where, and could really decide the table, who qualifies where, who could eventually win the Serie A title if that comes to it. So that's what teams have to look towards. I do want to mention with Sassuolo, as they did get another draw here. Before this game, they only had picked up 4 points out of a possible 15 so that's 5 games where they only picked up 4 points. That is disastrous for Sassuolo, who had such a great start to the season. That Serbi will hope to get his men going and picking up points, and maybe go back to how they were at the beginning of the season, fighting for that European spot. They aren't that far out, but they need to hope to start picking up points against teams that are under them, fighting for relegation, and even possible stealing away points with teams that are above them in the table, because that could even come in handy as well. So that's one thing to look forward to. If especially the way they do play, it's an exciting attacking football. So keep an eye to see if they can recover. Now going back to the last game of the day was Roma Verona. Roma technically, well, on the field, the game finished as a draw, but because of Diawara playing and technically being on the wrong registration list, Roma received a 3-0 loss to the table, and they got the last laugh here, beating Verona 3-1. Roma also the only team not to lose at home so far this season, so they carried on winning or getting a positive result at the Olimpico, scoring 3 goals in the span of 30 minutes here, 2 goals in a minute at least, against one of the tougher defensive sides here. Verona didn't have that good of a first half, didn't really get anything going, and who'd have thought they had one of the best defenses in Serie A going into this match, and they let in 3 goals. The second one was a little soft. Silvestri could have done better on that one, but they did play a much better second half, did get a goal, but Juric will hope to look forward to the next game in the sense of trying to make sure these mistakes don't repeat themselves. And because I know Verona, the way they have played too, can perhaps challenge for a Europa League spot. They do look good, have given teams above them a challenge. They tied Milan, they tied Juventus, they beat Napoli. So they've gotten results against some of these sides, and will hope to continue that momentum going forward and just canceling out some of these mistakes that did cost them important points. Anyways, those were all the matches for starting off round 20. The second half of the season has started, and we are going to be in for a lot of entertainment going forward. Let me know which games you guys were into this weekend, what games you really enjoyed, and what did you think of the matches that happened this weekend. So now, after round 20 was played, let's go take a look at the standings here, or just listen to me talk about it, I guess. Sitting at the bottom, we still have Crotone dead last here. Parma just above them by 1 point, who have still not received a victory, and their attack continues to struggle. They've only found 2 goals in their last few games, and that's only been scored by Kushka as well, so that's not looking good for them. I know they've just signed Mattia Bani from Genoa. They're getting the deal finalized for Xerxes from Bayern Munich as well. They are continuing to look to bolster their squad and hope to get some positive results going forward to maybe just push out of there. We have Cagliari, the third team in there, and I don't think anyone really saw them being there. They did get a good point against the Swallow, but still not enough to see them out of the relegation zone. The full 3 points would have done that for them, but they couldn't hold on for that. So Crotone at 12, Parma at 13, Cagliari at 15, but Torino, because of the point they also stole away, they are tied at 15 points as well. So again, only saved right now because of goal differential. Because they have only 5 more goals scored than Cagliari, so that does come in handy until Torino Cagliari play once again. But both teams winless in their last 5. Cagliari winless, I think it's now 14 matches. I want to say they have not won since November. Torino also looking for their first win in the longest time as well. I think they haven't won since November either. They have not won since. Oh, sorry, they have not won since January at the 3-0 win versus Parma as well. So they are really looking to get some positivity going forward, hoping they can. They have looked better with David and Nicola, but they're still looking for his first win, and that win will be crucial, especially if these teams continue to drop points. Spezia, who had a great start to the season, now dropping in form, winless in their last 3 now, and with back-to-back defeats, hoping to get something going in their next few games. They only sit 3 points out from the relegation zone, so I know we all expected them to go down, but they did play well enough to push up, but it seems like they're starting to drop in form again, and that could cost them, especially if Torino, Cagliari, or Parma could find themselves some form going into the next few games. So Italiano will have a lot of work to do if he wants to have another season in Serie A. Bologna has some distance, 5 points from the relegation zone, but they need to start picking up some wins or at least some draws. Especially they're 5, 5, and 10, so that is a lot of losses for them. I know Skorupski was missing for quite a bit as well, so that didn't help them in those matches. But now that they have him back, and we saw against Juve and against Milan, he can really put in a great performance, save the ball, save the shot. Sorry, when it comes, but he can't always rely on your goalie. The forwards or whoever's in front of him have to do their job to score the goals, to help defend him or defend the lead, defend the result, whatever the circumstance is. He needs his other players in front of him to step up and help him out. Udinese and Genoa picking up crucial victories last time out, and they are at 21.6 points out from the relegation zone. And Benevento, I do feel, will stay up. They have looked good, but Inzaghi will hope to get something going in their next round. They are winless in their last 4 matches, so some disappointing results these last few games, and will hope to get something going. And considering all their losses in those past 4 games, those 3 losses in the last 4 games, they have conceded 4 goals each time. So some defensive worries at the back there for Benevento, and something they will look to improve on. And especially that they did lose 4-1 to Crotone. That's a huge result against a relegation contender as well. So not the best result that they would have liked, but they are hoping to improve on that and potentially stay up for the first time in their history. Now going up to the top of the standings, so I want to start with 9th spot just because it's still a little close right there. We have Verona at 30, so they're only a few points. It's only 6 points away from Atalanta, who are in 7th, Sassuolo at 31 because of that draw. So it's still very close for these sides, especially with Atalanta dropping points to, like I said, they are with 36. Lazio, who have won 5 straight, so that's 15 points. They really jumped up the standings. There are 22 points mid-table, basically where Fiorentina, Benevento are right now in the mid-table. So they have really moved up the standings. Now sit at 6th spot in the Europa League contender spot, while Napoli, also tied points with them at 37, are sitting at 5th spot. But Napoli, who still have that game in hand against Juve, that game was, they wanted to give or take play it around this time, but because Napoli and Juve are both in the Coppa Italia semifinals, it's not possible. And then especially with a Champions League and Europa League starting up once again this month, there's basically no time to be played, so they would have to look into maybe March. They do need to play it, and we are going to be treated for a great game there, considering we do have Napoli Juventus coming up in a couple weeks time. So if that'll be it'll be the second time they played each other, since the first time was in the Super Cup. But Serie A is really where it's going to matter coming to the end. So those points will be crucial, and the head-to-head too, considering where they are in the standings. It will definitely come in handy. Just above Napoli is Juventus at 39. So it's like I said, that win can really change everything for either team. Even a draw would still keep them at 2 points, but a win by either of these sides can really change the way the standings are. Because Juventus win, they'll go 5 points ahead of Napoli. If Napoli win, they're going to go a point ahead of Juventus, and then they will all to be played for in the other game as well. I know I keep saying win, it could even finish in a draw. That's very true, but I feel these teams will not play out for a draw. They will try to go out and get the full victory, especially with both teams starting to pick up form. We are going to be treated with such a good match there. In 3rd spot, we have Roma at 40, managed to get back-to-back wins after suffering that huge loss to Lazio in the Derby della Capitale. So they continue to put pressure on Juventus as well, knowing that they have to continue to match result for result, while also putting pressure on Inter and Milan, just creeping up there as well. Inter sitting still at 2nd with 44 points, and Milan with 46 points. Now, if you guys have any comments about the standings, be sure to comment below and let me know. So now we're going to go on to round 21 for Serie A that's coming up next week. We have opening up once again on the Friday. It will be Fiorentina, and they will be hosting Inter this time at 2:45. So last time around, Fiorentina almost stole the victory at the San Siro, leading 3-2 late on, but Inter managing to turn things around, winning 4-3. Fiorentina this time are looking much better under Prandelli, have starting to get the best out of their players like Bonaventura, Amrabat, Ribery, Vlahovic as well. But Inter are also in a good run of form as well. They have well, they have 2 wins in their last four, but four positive results, four straight positive results, I guess you could say. But Fiorentina will hope to capitalize on the victory, knowing they did beat their biggest team they did beat was Juventus as well, but Inter looking to put the early pressure on Milan. And like I said, Inter want to get the points against Fiorentina, especially considering the Milan's compare. If you want to compare Milan's fixture list, Inter do have a bit more of the tougher challenge going forward, and want to put that early pressure on Milan going into the weekend and hoping for a slip up from their rivals, but they need to do their job here with Lukaku and Martinez leading their attack. Going on to Saturday, 9 a.m. Atalanta Torino. Now Atalanta want to bounce back after that disappointing home loss to Lazio. It's coming up against the Torino side, who have looked better but still have not gotten a win yet in their 2 games under Nicola. But hoping to maybe take advantage of an Atalanta side who did look shaky, who didn't really create much, or not create much, but couldn't really capitalize against a Lazio team who are in actually such fine form anyways. It should be a good game to see who can really outscore who this time. Be sure to keep an eye on how this game will go. There is another game also at 9 a.m. and it is Sassuolo Spezia. Sassuolo looking to get a win here after not winning in their last 4 matches and trying to move up, or they can't really move up, we'll say, in the standings, but try to get back to positive winning ways and try and push up eventually, help to get themselves going again, try to close the gap between them and Atalanta in the standings, while Spezia will try to turn their fortunes around, winless in their last 3, and hopefully try to find a win to push themselves a little farther away and not have to worry too much about the relegation, because this will be a good test for them against a Sassuolo side, again, who have been underperforming as of late. One of the bigger games of the weekend at 12 p.m. is Juventus and Roma. Juventus have looked much better as late, but while Roma too have been scoring at free will, Roma will be missing Lorenzo Pellegrini through suspension, and will hopefully have El Shaarawy called up and Reynolds as well. Reynolds, who is actually supposed to be signed by Juventus but was supposed to be playing for Benevento. That deal fell through, and Roma managed to snag him up as well. So could even be the battle of the Americans as well between McKennie and Reynolds. Fonseca also to have a sit down with Edin Dzeko, unless something happens in the last transfer day. He will hope to have him back as in the squad and hoping to use him. But Borja Mayoral has been in a fine scoring run, and that could even help punish Juventus at the back. Who knows? Juve can be a little shaky at the back. They will hope to look to their top goal scorer Cristiano Ronaldo and Federico Chiesa, who has actually been improving a lot more now under Pirlo, and with McKennie and Arthur starting to settle in that midfield, and will probably be playing between Rabiot, or I think Bentancur is suspended, so most likely with Rabiot. They will hope to command that midfield, and they do have again the return of Giorgio Chiellini at the back, so that is a huge addition. Going to be a very, very tight affair here, and anything can change because a Juventus win will help leapfrog them over Roma, while Roma win will distance themselves away from Juventus and push themselves 1 point behind Inter, depending on how their result goes. capping off Saturday is Genoa at Napoli at 2:45. Genoa, again, who have looked in fine form, will hope to capitalize on Napoli. Yes, they have turned themselves around as of late as well, but Napoli can still be a little shaky, and they could lose out to Genoa, who, as we know, Napoli in recent weeks losing to Verona and Spezia. So Genoa want to try and take advantage of that fragility there, as especially they are in fine form. Destro scoring again now his 8th goal in 8 games. Looking forward to that. Last time around it did finish 6-0 for Napoli, but Genoa also missing a lot of players because of COVID-19. They will hope to do better this time around and perhaps steal something away from Napoli. Moving on to Sunday now, February 7th at 6:30. We have Benevento Sampdoria. Both these teams coming off losses this past weekend and will hope to bounce back, get a positive result. Sampdoria trying to solidify their spot in the top 10, while Benevento want to try and get a win after four games without one, and especially having 3 heavy defeats. Inzaghi will really hope to start to turn things around for his side. Now at 9 a.m. there are 2 matches. We have Udinese, Verona, both teams. Udinese getting the win, helping to push themselves away from the relegation, while Verona, disappointed against Roma, will hope to bounce back against Udinese, who can be still very inconsistent at times, and Juric will hopefully try to get a better defensive performance from his team while trying to also crack the Udinese defense and crack the one of the better keepers in Serie A in Juan Musso. The other 9 a.m. game is Milan Crotone. League leaders try to take on the last place side, capitalize on a victory, and try to keep the distance from Inter, and they will pay extra attention depending on how the result goes in the Fiorentina Inter match. So any positive result going their way in that match will definitely help if they can get a win here and take advantage of Crotone, who have yet to find an away win this season, and will hope to capitalize on their form at the San Siro. Yes, they have 2 losses, but they still have looked good all season, and try to put more momentum going forward, considering, again, that derby is coming up. So these wins are crucial for them as well. 12 p.m. we have Parma Bologna. So Parma, again, like I said, trying to find their first win since November, while Bologna trying to bounce back after that disappointing defeat to Milan and take advantage of Parma's poor form right now. Parma have 4 losses in their 5 games, only picking up 1 point in their last 5. Bologna have looked good but very inconsistent, and Parma, again, like I said, only scoring I think 2 goals in their last few games, and really disappointing there. And Bologna can go into this match knowing that if they can tighten up their defense, limit the scoring chances that Parma have, then they could definitely get a good result out of this game. And then ending off Sunday at 2:45 is Lazio Cagliari. Lazio, who are in fine form right now, winning 5 consecutive matches, will look to make it 6 against the Cagliari side, who have also not won since November. Will hope to take advantage of them and put more pressure on Napoli and Juventus going forward as well. I know it all depends on how their results go as well, but they will hope to put more pressure on those sides as well. So that is round 21 coming up next weekend for Serie A. Be sure to let me know which games you guys are looking forward to this coming weekend, and how do you think some teams can finish out the season. I know it's still early in the second half, but anything can happen, and these games will be crucial if most of these teams continue their hot run of form. So be sure to comment below, let me know. If you haven't already done so, subscribe to our channel for more Calcio content. Don't forget to click the bell to receive notifications on when our latest videos are announced. If you haven't also done so, don't forget to subscribe on our Twitter for all the latest updates. Calcio_bros. Tweet out live updates during games, updates on player status, transfers, and any other news as well. So I will hope to hear from you guys soon. Ciao!